we are going to do, daringly, we're going to do dataloader.py and config.py. I checked them out prior, and they're short. They're very they're short in multiple ways. They're short in like the concept. They're not algorithms. They're very simple ideas, and then their actual lines of code is short. So last time we did like internalizing the tokenizer, and then we did it in two parts. We did internalizing the tokenizer. Oh my goodness. We did internalizing the tokenizer in one video and then implementing it in another video. I might fail, but today I want to try to do the config.py in config.py and dataloader.py, both the internalizing and writing in one go. So let's get started. I think we're supposed to start with config.py. So let's see. Oh, I'm a very small channel. Do I say like and subscribe yet? You should like and subscribe this video, man. You know, like lock in. This is good stuff. So let's see. We have this is config.py. Okay. So there's the class, and well, part of this is just gonna be a vocab lesson, I guess. And I should like lower my enunciation tone because I'm about to like dial it down because I'm gonna be learning. I'm supposed to be learning. This is like, this video is like you watching me live trying to figure things out, not me explaining anything to the camera. So it's like I'm talking to you right now, but I shouldn't be. I'm supposed to be talking to myself basically. Um, so let's see. So we have config. It's just one class object, and then okay, it's already that's nice. Is we have paths, tokenizer, model architecture, training, and then derived once um, up front. So we can just call it, whenever. So let's see. Corpus path. So yeah, everything is it's literally a config file. Like it could be a dictionary. It's like a lookup. It's just the configuration. It's the definition of like everything that we're going to use from, I don't know, from paths to training. So corpus. Ooh. I really find this a little bit interesting. So this is the raw text. Okay, maybe it's just documented very well already. Okay, this is the raw text that we're gonna learn from. Tokenizer path. I find it interesting that this is like defined. I don't think that, so like for example, the actual tokenizer, it doesn't import tokenizer path. You know, like I feel like your config, if you're going to use the tokenizer path as like your input and output, then your tokenizer should call it from the config file. You know what I mean? Um, checkpoint path. I think this is very simple. I feel like generally speaking, you would just have checkpoints and then like an adaptive string when you're doing based off of the iteration of the checkpoint. But for what we've designed, there's only one checkpoint, so that's fine. And then yeah, again, yeah, I just wanted one checkpoint and one loss, and like they're here because you probably haven't seen my other videos. I'll show you. You can't open the model. I'm fairly certain. Yeah, but yeah, you can see the loss image. I don't know what file type this is. I don't think this is a pickle. And then the training log. Nice. And okay, and then that's that. Tokenizer. I guess, yeah, how would you characterize? I think the answer is just vocab size. That makes sense. But if I try to rederive it, I guess, open question is, how am I going to characterize a tokenizer? You say your tokenizer.json is the algorithm. And this is sort of interesting, is we have implicit and explicit design for our training, I guess, It's like, remember, it's code, so everything's flexible. These are our choices. In our configuration, we're not letting people choose how they're going to, like what algorithm they're going to use for tokenizing. You're using BPE, So given that we're using BPE, then what do you use to characterize your learned tokenizer? Your text. and your vocab size. What else? I don't think there's anything else. You know what I mean? Your algorithm is BPE. You have the text, and you have like what your target vocab size. Makes sense. Yeah, is you want to do 24 learned merges. That's it. Model architecture. So we have D model, which is our embedding dimension, but we're using multi-headed attention. Ooh, n layers is number of transformer blocks. This is our number of attention heads, even though they're both 4. D model must divide by this. Yes. Also must divide by 2. Did we validate that? Nope. Let's see. N heads. Perfect. The fact that the feed forward, yeah, this is another example, is like the Swiglu activation. We're not letting anyone choose that in our config. Do we have to? I don't know. I feel like Torch Titan probably does, you know? They just probably have like a more elaborate configuration. And it's also probably not like a Python class. So what's interesting to me here is that there's one. So it makes me think that it's a single hidden layer neural network. You know what I mean? It's just, ooh, I don't think I'm going to answer this now, but you know what I mean? It's just D model, then exploded, and then, how do I say? It's a D model by 500 or a D model by DFF matrix, and then its hidden weights are activated, and then from 512 back down to D model. And it's just that, you know what I mean? It's like the smallest thing you can do that counts as a neural network. Or maybe that's why it's called a no, it says feed forward. I think maybe that's why it's called multi-layer perceptron. But I still barely, I don't know, perceptrons is like such like a traditional machine learning, I guess. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I care. Like, what's the use of the mental model of like perceptrons? They're just like nodes in a neural network. I don't think I care. I might. Not soon though. So, okay. So you have DFF and we have max sequence length. I think the fact that it's a max is interesting. Is like, so there's sort of a design choice that's going on without my knowing. Yeah, it's like, so like longest sequence length. Why? Longest sequence length. I think we're conflicting in the debate of, oh, oh, I think I see why. So the rope table is predefined. Does it have to be? Why? I can have like these things that I disagree on. I feel like those should be documented. Those things that I disagree on and want to change. Do I take a note? Am I going to look back at my notes? Oh, but it's routed to the file. I feel like this is the perfect time to use notes. And if I built the feature, we should use it. So Vault Chat supports note taking. Not what I'm stuck on. It's like, okay, why max seek length for rope? I feel like I would not do it like that. So yeah, I disagree. I should come back to it. Will I remember? Who knows? Rope data 10,000 classic. It's rope. Again, it's sort of a silly config. You know what I mean? It's like, who's this for? No one's using this. No one's like, I'm not tweaking the config. And like, of the things that I can change, my rope theta, I don't think I'm gonna change that. Who cares? Like, is that like a hyperparameter if you did like auto research that could like affect the model? I feel like that's blasphemous. I guess it would have a little bit of a important. We're using our brain now. the effect would have very broad outreach, but that does not make its effect significant. So what's it called? This affects attention. This affects like how we handle sequence, like position. That significant at every transformer, every single stage. Super important. Um, but changing it doesn't mean our model's performance will change significantly, even though it's affecting everything. At least I imagine. Training, batch size. Again, that's also a questionable thing. Is like we're gonna fix batch size. How to say? Nope. Why can't batch size change over time? I would change batch size. Also, importantly, oh, batch size isn't sequence length. This is what I'm more confused about. Is I wouldn't fix sequence length. It's like, what's your ability to do inference at this length? Um, I I think that um it's possible that you should just go uh not for today, even though I'm really curious. Um so the math, imagine like a vector in a matrix. That vector is going to oh, but it's not. There's no isolated part of the matrix. It's going to do a dot product with every column. Yeah, so there is no like regionness. It's interacting with every piece of information. So let me trace it backward and then like show you where it's like interesting for me. Is like my question is I'm context for my question is I'm suggesting that like it may be worthwhile to do to sort of schedule your sequence lengths is to do sequence length 32, then 64, then 128. You know, either grow it or shrink it or something such that the model is either like so for example from 32 to 64, it's less of a leap from 0 to 64. It's like you're sort of like initialized and like it's a easier task, it's incremental instead of it being such a hard task and I don't know, like something like collapses. However, I do understand, we'll get to the data loader, when you have your x and y, your x is a how do I say is of sequence length, and so is your y. Um, which means that it's you're doing inference on you're gonna get a loss, you're gonna get like a comparison for every single token in the sequence of like sequence length less than sequence length, you know? So I don't even know if it's like you're going to get loss for your next token prediction at sequence length minus n for n through sequence length minus one, whatever. um, yeah, max steps. That's for your optimizer, whatever. Ooh, do we have a? I was about to say. I was like, do we have a learning rate scheduler? Are we proper? So seed, log every. This is every step. Warm up steps. Let's see. This is for training. So I may skip this. I think training may be like an intermediate video to this like series that I'm having fun with, in the sense that um, weight decay, gradient clipping, warm up steps, in one ear out the other. Um, I don't use those, so maybe I need to. How do I say? They're Atom W. So let's start learning momentum based gradient descent. Might be the time. Who knows? and then head dimensions. So do I open a new file and try to and just type this? And if it's in training, I feel like model architecture, these paths, I should be able to recall this, and I should be able to recall this, and I should be able to recall this. Maybe I'll recall this. Learning rate, seed, log every. It's these three. There's like no shot. There's no shot. Let's try it. Because how do I say it? If I get this done like right now, then we're in good shape. Let's see. I have took. Let's do new file and let's say Carl. Oh wait, where's it gonna? It's gonna go all the way up here. No, that's too late. Okay, whatever. So we have took, and we're gonna do new file, and we're gonna do config.py. Let's rename it. Real token, true tokenizer.py. Okay. In like principle, you would say, oh, you were just looking at it. This is like cheating. It's like too close to your mind for this to be a fair assessment of your ability to do recall. I disagree because I forgot already. So, was there an import? What would there be to import? I don't think there's an import. Wait, how bad could this be? Is this bad for me? How to say it? Is it a bad look if like um I was just looking at it and it's like say you remember something, it's like does he what has he been looking at? He doesn't remember anything. For example, were there parameters for initializing? That's weird. So the config is hard coded. This is a little bit weird. I feel like this is, and maybe I did ask for this, is like maybe like the whole point of this is just like, this is like structural like learning. It's like, you wouldn't use that at all. I can't, I can't put my parameters in my initialization for my config, so I can't initialize my config. It's just built for me. Um, I guess, I guess it's a little bit nice in the sense that, well, maybe you don't, maybe you're not using the config um, to because you want to change it. You're using it for consistency. Is you want everything to point to like the same ground truth piece of information, and like how do I say? You're not just going to pass a variable. You pass the config variable. You know what I mean? And that makes it a little bit easier. It's like this is you know CFG equals config, and now you can do config dot ba to actually grab particular parameters. So that makes sense. Let's see what I can recall. I think the first thing was like paths. Architecture? I can't spell architecture, so you're gonna have to bear with me. And then training, and I feel like there's one more. But maybe it's just like was it the like, I don't know, self dot head dim equals self dot d model self dot oops and heads. Cool. So path. I'm not typing a path. I'm not typing a path. They're all paths. Okay. There's the tokenizer path. What was there other paths for? There's the loss, PNG. There's the training log. and there's the model. Hmm. There's the loss. There's the training log. There's the model. There's the corpus. And like, I feel like training log was not in that list of things. You know what I mean? So like self.corpus equals something like data slash corpus.txt. Okay. Self dot loss. I feel like it just said loss png, but like whatever. Equals finish. Like, do I care? I do care if you're gonna do a bad job. Let's see. Lost log path. Come on. What is this? Log path? That's not bad. Hey. You're cheating. That's not what I asked for. Model. Training log. No, dude. Just the one line. I promise I didn't look. Oh my goodness. Make it a self dot thing. For a path. For a path. Damn it. So useless. So useless. Okay, is this it? Is there? Did I delete something on accident? There's the corpus. There's the training log. I lost the loss.png. Oh my goodness. Self.loss. Um, I don't remember model path. I don't remember it being like 5. I thought it was 4. Why is it not also in data? Did these all start with data? The JSON? Yeah, that's what I would go with for the paths. Because there's a tokenizer, corpus, you have to output the model, you have the tokenizer, and then there's like the 2 helpers. You know what I mean? These are like specific to me, and it's still specific to me, but like more general is having a path for your corpus, path for your model, path for your. Oh, checkpoint. Oh, and then I feel like is it data? Is it data forward slash checkpoint? Let's give it one more shot. Lock it, lock it. You got this. You got this. Bang! Good job. Oh my gosh. Wait. Why would you add this? I didn't ask for this. Okay. I think that's good enough. I now feel less confident because like I think it was I think it kind of was data. You know what I mean? All right, let me just cheat. Let's see, because it doesn't look like that. It's data. There's none of like, yeah. Oh, it's just checkpoints. There's no data. Interesting. How many things are on checkpoint? 3 things. See, I had the impression that there was just, how do I say? I had the impression that it was just the only subfolder that I had was data. So that's interesting. Yeah, we're good, right? Let's see, data, corpus, and tokenizer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think also like all these names. I don't think those are right, but that's fine. Let's see. Let's also not take too long. Self.d model. That's not fair at all. Equals the actual numbers. I feel very unrelated to. I don't think I care. Self.end heads. Let's say let's do end layers. That was 4. That's the number of transformers. Self.end heads was 4. Number of heads for attention. Self dot rope theta. By the way, um, how do I say this? Also, this is 10 the floating point. How do people get away? It's underscore. There you go. Oh, but my syntax doesn't highlight that? Perfect. It's like, it's 1 over 10,000. You know what I mean? Technically, I think. It's like, I don't even think 10,000 is the base. Or is 10,000 the base? I think 1 over 10,000 is the base. We're not worried about that right now. What else does our model need? We have the dimensions. We have rope. Self.max. I was just asking about this. It's like max. There's 2 maximums that I don't rock with. I think I just called it sequence length. It equals 64. Ooh, but is that part of training? Ooh. It's like self dot. But yeah, I think the training stuff is what I blanked out on the most. You need your. Wait. Model and architecture. That's not gonna work. I think it's just model. And then I think this one is tokenizer. That's what I missed. And then here we got self.vocab size. Perfect. And that's like 200. It's 300, whatever. So you have our tokenizer. Let's see paths. Tokenizer, our model, and training. We have a learning rate. We didn't define that we're using Atom W. That's not in our config. We have a learning rate. Oh, self.log every. I don't know if I care about these. These are so particular, like very minute details. For model would be very bad to miss anything though. So we have rope, we have sequence length, and we have max rope dim. I don't know. And reasonable quantities for these don't make sense for me either. And it's just like how big your rope matrix is going to be, tensor, whatever. Oh my goodness. You can't miss out on that. Self.batch size. And that's got to be a training thing. It was like 8. So we have vocab size, dmodel is our embedding dimension, number of layers, number of transformer blocks, and heads, number of times we're going to do attention. If I did this, maybe I would feel like my model thing is less small and that I'm closer to the actual thing. I think I would call it here. Because I don't know, because it's a config file. Who cares? Like literally, who cares? And then, what's it called? Whatever I see that I missed, I'll be like, oh, and then that'll be what keeps it in my brain. I think let's move to the data loader. Let's see. What did I miss? Ah, the feed forward neural network. Darn. So, okay, it was 4 instead of 5. And okay, for whatever reason you're not stating where you want to put your logs. L move. Vocab size, demodel, layers. This is a bad thing to miss. And I talked about it. That sucks. Wait, is there an extra one that I did? Oh, whoa, this is a lot. I missed seed. There's batch size, sequence length. Okay, sequence length and max sequence length are different things. So I put both of them here. So it's like, yeah, this should be max sequence length. And then apparently that goes here, but then sequence length goes in training along with batch size. Does it go like under batch size? I would put it there. Yeah, batch size, sequence length. And then learning rate. Max steps. Yeah. And then log every in seed. Okay. So, not very cool, not very exciting. I think there's a world in which that's an interview question, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of a silly one, but like, it's like maybe that's like the point. It's like, it's just like a basic, like, do you know like the most basic things that are supposed to go in? I forgot. Sorry. Which is interesting. I think it's not deeply rooted in my brain because I haven't built enough models from scratch, I guess, that like I say like, oh, how could you forget your feed forward dimension for your transformers? That sucks. Okay. Next up is data loader. Also very short. And importantly, we don't run anything here. We do import our config. Did I put config in here? Good, good, good. We import our config. We don't define it. This is even more upsetting. So what? It's because it would be so long if you made it an option to set every configuration. And instead of doing like the defaults, you do the defaults because it's a class. I guess. Yeah, those are all defaults when you define them. Wait, are they? Wait, I thought one of the whole points of like variables inside of classes is that you can't change them outside of the class. I thought that was one of the whole points. Maybe not outside of the class if you're in the same script, but you can manipulate it for the object once it's been instantiated or something. Must be if this runs. Um, I am getting a little bit tired. Maybe I don't upload a video today. I'm experiencing doubt. Let's see. Def, build token IDs, corpus path. Yeah. And then text, read. Yep. IDs equals encoding it, and then put it into a tensor in Torch. Will I be able to recall this? I don't know. No, and that's another thing. Because I want to forget this. And like that's like the whole thing. Like, okay, tokenize your dot encode, and then put it into Torch. I don't think there's anything interesting going on there. Here, I think there might be something worthwhile for me to like type this from scratch. So we have our token IDs. We're passing in our configuration. We're defining our device, whatever. Um, so we're continuing to pass our config. The config becomes an object of, or an attribute of the class. Okay. Our device is our device. Our IDs is our actual sentences. You know what I mean? That's something of substance. That's good. T and B. I think I'm okay with that because they're simpler. It's T and B, and it's capturing sequence length and max sequence length. I think is interesting. I will say we had that debate of like sequence length changing, and whether or not we want to expand it or not. Now that I know, oh my gosh, that's what it was. That's what it is. We start with a smaller sequence length. We start with sequence length of 4, or maybe this is a test. But you can change sequence length outside of your config. So it's not set in stone. And that means in trainer.py, hopefully good exercise, is we see sequence length is something like, I don't know, while sequence length is less than blah, 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 blah. We train blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Let's see. And like we're going to do sequence length is going to get like, it's just going to be +1. It doesn't have to be +1, I guess. Let's see. This is tokenizer. Let's see. I'm not seeing it immediately off the bat. I have a control F, don't I? Let's see. Dot sequence. Am I spelling it wrong? And we have it inside of dataloader. Ooh. Now we're not friends. Config. You're changing the config.sequence length. You're going to tell me that we're not going to do that in training. Config. Yeah, so like again, so like for example, I think the cosine learning rate is like defined by those like is defined by the parameters in the trainer, and like I don't know like cosine learn rate scheduling. That's weird. Let's see. Export loss curve, overfit one batch. Where's like the training loop? For step and max steps. Loss equals compute loss. Logits equals model of X. It's so interesting how they make training like, you know what I mean? Like such a simple thing. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, truly an expression of the ability to like abstract things is like input output, loss backward. Um, hmm. Okay, that's weird. Data loader. But this, I don't know, this could be a quality of life thing, I guess, that you're doing it so that you can just do T and B. It could be like a readability solution from AI, you know? Um, pick B random start positions, the maximum start. So you have to choose it from the range from 0 to max start plus 1 of shape, right? Let's say it's like right int. And like let's pause because maybe I jumped the gun. Starts. Technically, this isn't necessary because you're all doing it contained in here, so you don't have to use torch. B. Oh no, I think it is. Yes, that's it. Yeah, a 1D tensor. Yeah, so you can use it like a list. Yeah. Is it required though? Interesting. Okay, yeah. So, oh wait, what? Mm, mm-hmm. I see. So yeah, if I wrap my mind around PyTorch, like if you like, it's built for everything to be like tensor and matrices. So like that could be, it makes things easier in theory. It makes things easier if you open your mind to think of every like object as a tensor. So yeah, it's like this is a 1D tensor, and you're not just gonna get an array. You're getting a tensor. Everything's a tensor. Okay. Generator being none, that's fine. Whatever. X equals IDs of S. Where do we get S from? For S and starts. And then it's of sequence length. Like, dude, yeah. And then it's S plus 1, so it's the next token all the way to the end of the next token. We're not doing anything of substance here. I don't know if I'm gonna code this. Yeah, no, there isn't anything to learn here. It's literally just, we're just getting the blocks. Is there anything of shape that I care about? No, because it's still we have a matrix now. What is nice. You know what I mean? We got our batch size matrix. Is, let's say, gives us our B by sequence length. It's perfect. Batch size by token, and then we embed, and we get D model. Yeah. Do I care? I don't think I feel significant enough about this. I think I think um I think I call it today. And then our next video is model.py. Model.py I do care about. And that is a heavy hitter. Sure. These are very simple files. There's like nothing going on there. Yeah. So today's boring, I guess. Because I don't have the mental energy. Like, why am I gonna type those? Like, for what? Like, am I being lazy? Because I couldn't if I tried to do it right now. Okay, fine. If it's so easy, then just write it, I think is my answer. So I think I will call it here because this is like our reading, not data gen. Reading data loader is we build the token IDs because that's going to get used in training. Sure, yeah. And then the class. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's nice. I do like that. Okay, I'm glad I stayed. Um, is like the class is group data set. It's our data set as a class, and then from our data set we can just call a batch, and that's what makes it a data loader. So I like that. Is like our data set is now like an object, and our data set we're going to call batches, but we're calling them in like our like native form. We're calling them in batch size sequence length tensors in TensorFlow. So this really is the middle ground, and I do appreciate that. And then building the token IDs, I feel like we should do that on initialization. Like, why not? Like, we're gonna build them, and then we're gonna put them in here. And like, where else are you using the token IDs if it's not inside of the what's it called? If it's not inside of the data loader, like for the data set, it's like let's see if this is used more than once. That'd be very interesting. So like, get what is it called? Token IDs. It's not get token IDs. That's not what it's called. Build token IDs. Three calls. So IDs equals overfit. Yeah, no. V equals tokenizer actual. Yeah, is you're gonna get. We did two data sets. You did it once for each data set. Yeah, I think bad design choice. I would argue. Just do it inside of it. Um, yeah, I like that. Let's look at my professor's code. Implement training. Is data your data loader? Ooh, I would argue. Okay, get batch. Holy cow. Load tokens. But this is. Oh, there's no class. Mem map. Goodness gracious. That Python is in fact beyond me. Dude. Big son. Um, yeah, I think I'm far from reading that code. Wow. Um, wow, so Claude actually did do a good job of making it plain. Holy cow. Um, yeah. So then I'll say I would call it for today. Short video, whatever. And then let's do the group data set. in config from scratch tomorrow. Because I'm tired. Mentally, I don't think I'm locked in enough to code from scratch. Now that I think about it, yeah, I worked. I did enough thinking during work, and I'm hungry. So, good video. I give it a 7 out of 10. It's an okay video. I have a plan. I know what I want to do tomorrow. And I inspected things, and I learned a little bit. Yeah, 7. It passes. Gets a C. So, oh, and my computer's running out of battery. This sun is crazy, man. Okay. So, decent video. Tomorrow I'll do it from scratch. And then the model.py, that is gonna be that's a big watch. You know what I mean? Like that's a non-trivial. That's like the big kahuna. So I don't even have the energy right now to like plan it out. So maybe I'll do that at the end of tomorrow's video. And yeah.